Back with another edition of the Red, Gold, and Bold. Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, Soren Petro with you as we are laying down our head coach rankings. We're doing it by tiers, but we're also ranking them 1 to 32. Where do the new coaches come in? How much did Andy Reid's season last year ding him? Who's up in that tier 1? The very, honorable position of being in the tier 1s. How many does everybody have? We've got 6 tiers. We're ranking them 1 to 32. It's our head coach rankings for 2026.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. We appreciate it. We get things started here. Our head coach rankings, we like to do this. We've done this for a number of years, I think going back all the way to 2022. And we begin with the tier 1. Always like to kind of maybe check and see anything jump at you about doing the exercise this year, Jeff?
I would say a lot of good coaching this year. I didn't have as many duds as I was anticipating. Now, there's some unproven guys in this list, and at least one on my hot seat. I don't know how many you guys have, but I was impressed with the list and thought that there's a lot of really good, talented young coaches and some accomplished guys who've been around for a while, and not too many question marks.
Yeah, Sam, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like maybe I wanted to squeeze like 14 guys into the top 10 maybe, but to me about midway through it fell off a cliff. I mean, I thought there was a pretty clear separator between like the top half and the bottom half of this. Overall, my top takeaway is this was a lot of work for the three of us. This honestly is the most extensive exercise I think every year that we do.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot putting into it. The thing I took away is I don't go into this, and I'll tell you one of the things I don't do is I don't look back at last year. I just go forward and say, here's what it is. This is what I'm thinking. I want to be clear of my thought. And just do it. It's something I learned about, television and radio. Like when you get to a new season, don't just like take out the blueprint and do it again. Have a fresh thought on it and see what it is, and don't be beholden to how you used to do it. So it's one way to do things, right? I'm not saying it's the only way. I kind of like it though for the coaches. Like it's a snapshot of where my mind is right now. And let's be clear. Are we talking about where they are moving forward? Again, this isn't a career achievement award.
Yeah,
although
that's an important point. But I'm curious about what you just said, Soren. I mean, certainly last year has to play into your thinking, though.
Last season does, but I don't go back and look at how I ranked them last year.
Oh, okay, that's much different. I thought you were saying you didn't look at what these guys did last year. I was like, how could you exclude that?
No, this exercise, I don't pull out my list from last year and say, okay, I'm going to move him up and I'm going to move him down.
Totally agree. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I just start fresh on that. But yes.
last season kind of matters.
It does. It's an important part of the equation. So I will tell you the one thing I found more than ever before, I found natural breaking points. On okay, this group here, this group here, this group here. I agree with Jeff. I've only got one guy in tier 6. I'm going to be honest with you. And if you can't figure out who that is, you got some issues. I got one guy in tier 6, so the other tiers might be a little fat. With too many, but I got more guys.
The AG tier or what?
What do you mean the
Oh, you don't have him ranked 32nd. Okay, I'm interested.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah.
His
Well-
last your last tier is always you think the worst coach is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So my last tier is always who it's a lot of unproven guys.
Yeah, but I'll take the unproven guys over this guy.
That's
And
what,
yes,
that's what
I think we all have the same guy for that.
I'm
think-
ranking. I am ranking. I think we all have the same guys. I am
Yeah.
ranking the unproven guys based on what Soren just said. If I'd rather have them than this existing coach, if I'd rather take the unknown, that guy's going on my list above him.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's a very good way to do it. I think it's a very good way to do it. All right, without further ado, let's get things started here. Let's begin with our tier 1 coaches. Jeff, we'll let you lead off alphabetically. You come first. What do you got?
My tier 1, and I'll explain my rationale for each one. These are all guys who've won Super Bowls or at least have appeared in at least 2 Super Bowls, so multiple Super Bowl appearances or 1 championship. I actually have Sean McVay number 1 on my list.
Okay.
Andy Reid is 2. Nick Sirianni is 3. Kyle Shanahan is 4. Mike McDowell is 5. John Harbaugh is 6. And Sean Payton is 7. And so I have 7 on my list. And Payton jumped up from last year because of what happened in Denver. I gave him credit for turning around 2 franchises now. I think John Harbaugh, even though he got fired, is still a very talented coach and had a really great run in Baltimore. Kyle Shanahan, what he did last year, he's the only guy that doesn't have a championship on this list. But taking the team he had last year that was injury-riddled and winning 11 games, taking them to the divisional round of the playoffs, one of the most amazing things I've seen a coach do in the last 2 decades. And also he had a run there where he had a 5-year run where he had 4 NFC championship appearances and 2 Super Bowls. And then the other guys speak for themselves. McVay, Reid, Sirianni, McDonald all have championships.
Yeah.
Well, I think Soren might want a little bit more explanation on Sirianni because I have a feeling that
He's not in my tier 1. No,
Yeah.
he's not.
Which is amazing. I don't know what he has to do to be a tier 1 coach besides Jeff.
it's funny. That's the one you didn't
Yeah.
explain, and I know it's the one that Soren is waiting on the explanation
It's
for.
the no-brainer explanation. 2 Super Bowls, 1 championship. He's been in the playoffs 4 times in 5
I think
years.
Soren should go second.
Yeah.
He's 8 on my list, and he's in tier 2. He's 8.
He's 8 on my list as well, actually.
Wow.
Okay, so you can help me explain. I do have an objection. I have 5 in tier 1, and the Sirianni thing, just since we're on that, is listen, people in Philadelphia hate the guy. He gets sideways with his players. I just think it's a ticking time bomb. I may be proven wrong. He may coach there for 20 years and win 5 Super Bowls. And at some point, I will adjust and say, okay, he's the real deal. But I think he's going to flame out. Now, go someplace else and win there as well. Then I'll have to be like, nope, he's tier 1. He's close. I came real close to putting him in this year because he was back in the playoffs. You know, I am close to putting him in tier 1, and I think I've got another one of your tier 1s down in tier 2 that we can talk about here in a second. But my tier 1, I too have Sean McVay number 1. I've ascended him to the number 1 spot. I'm worried about Andy Reid. I'm worried about the game starting to pass him by, but I do have him number 2. I'm not going to take one season's not going to wreck everything he's accomplished. And a couple of years before, last year he was number 1 on my list. I do know that. Said I didn't look back at it, but I do know he's been number 1. I think every year I've done this. And so maybe early on Bill Belichick was there. I didn't go all the way back and look, but yeah, I've got McVay 1, Andy Reid 2, John Harbaugh 3. Again, 1 year, I'm not going to knock him down. And I think he did a lot of his damage with lesser quarterbacks. I know he's had a really good one with Baltimore, but it's not exactly your traditional win in cold weather type of quarterback. And Sean Payton is 4, and Mike McDonald is number 5, because I'm like, we're doing this moving forward. He was good and then got better. He's done it with a couple of different quarterbacks.
Who was 3rd on your list, Soren?
3rd was John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
So he didn't have. You don't have Shanahan or Sirianni.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Well, Sirianni shouldn't. And really, Shanahan shouldn't either.
But Sirianni is more of a personality thing, right? Than it is a production.
I think he's a ticking time bomb, and Shanahan.
But ticking time bomb, that discounts everything he's done, right? That doesn't make you a bad coach.
But again, it's not a career achievement award. He's not a bad coach. I have him. Can I just play 5 minutes from last year and put it in this year, and then we'll press forward. He's 8th on my list, not 28, 8. Like, I would not want to hire Nick Sirianni. How can I put him in tier 1?
Well, I'm saying, so if he's won a championship and gotten to a Super Bowl, like, what's the qualification for a tier 1 coach? I guess, is it just that?
So then Mike McCarthy, where is he in your tier 1?
I actually had to remove him. He was in there, and I took him out. Because I just felt like, okay, but he's in my top 10 or 11, whatever it is. But I looked at that as if, like, would I pick him? He didn't coach last year, for one. But 2, would I pick the other guys ahead of him? That was the only qualification. But he was in my tier 1 up until he went on the air. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think he's underrated. But I just think, do you think Larry Brown's a great coach?
Larry Brown, the basketball coach? Yeah, I think as far as a basketball coach, I think he's probably the best basketball coach maybe that ever lived. But as an NBA coach, I don't know that he'd be in my tier 1 because he's going to be moving. He's going to be firing around.
Okay. Well, that's different then. So you've got a broad.
Listen, I would not hire Nick Sirianni.
But is that your only criteria then?
I think it's an important one for tier 1.
So what else factors into it then? That's what I'm arguing. What else?
Not pissing off half your roster, not being on a different page from your quarterback, not being like, one FU to the fans from being fired, not embarrassing the organization.
How many coaches in this league can win with Jalen Hurts a championship?
That's what stood out to me, to where it was tough for me to rank Sirianni only 8th because he's 59-26 and Jalen Hurts has been a starting quarterback. Yeah. I think the other argument that Jeff should be making for Sirianni is the fact that he had his coordinators plucked after going to the Super Bowl, went back and won the Super Bowl with different coordinators in charge. Like, that's a pretty high level sign.
It's absolutely 100% the best thing going. He's got going. I've given you my reasons. You don't have to agree with him, but he's not in tier 1.
I thought you'd actually have him lower than 8. I thought you'd have him lower than I did.
Where'd you go for tier 1, Sam?
I only have 4 guys in tier 1, and I still have Andy Reid first. I agree. I don't have any qualms about you guys putting Sean McVay first. I will point out Sean McVay had a 5-12 season. It's not unheard of for a coach. Kyle Shanahan has had several bad seasons, but I've got McVay second. I put Mike McDonald third. And the reason being is, like, Seattle's defense was atrocious before he arrived. And in the 5 years before he arrived in DVOA, they were 30th, 26th, 28th, 22nd, and 26th. In his 2 years as a head coach, they've been 10th and then number 1, so clearly number 1. In fact, they were the best DVOA defense since 2018. And to me, that's his scheme that's doing that. I think he won them the Super Bowl this year. And then I have Kyle Shanahan fourth. And I understand that he's had a career that's more ebbed and flowed than some others, but he's won a playoff game in 5 of the last 7 seasons. For 5 straight years, his offense is ranked top 7. Andy Reid's offense hasn't done that. Sean McVay's offense hasn't done that. I think he's been more consistent than people realize on his side of the ball.
Yeah.
Well, and like Sirianni, he's also done it with
not elite quarterback. Agreed. Yeah.
And
let's face it, they're within an eyelash of winning 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. He's very close. And if he'd won those Super Bowls, he'd be tier 1. And if he'd won either one of them, he'd be tier 1 on both our lists. But his downs are pretty down. Like it's a pretty good roller coaster ride.
But those are also injury related too, right? When he's had down years, he lost Garoppolo to an ACL. Last year was a disaster. And then the other year,
that's certainly part of it.
Yeah. They've made the playoffs in 4 of the last 5 years and won playoff games. Well, and they've won 2 playoff games in 3 of those years.
And he's 7 on my list, so I'm not hating on the guy either. I have no problem with him being up there in your guys' tier 1. All right, so we'll get to our tier 2 quarterbacks after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. If your property needs asphalt or concrete work, Gann Asphalt and Concrete is ready to help you. From parking lots and drive lanes to sidewalks, curbs, patching, seal coating, crack filling, and repairs. Their experienced crews handle projects of all sizes throughout the entire Kansas City metro. Whether you're fixing problem areas or planning a larger paving project, Gann focuses on quality workmanship and dependable service from start to finish. No matter what shape your pavement is in today, they can help improve it. Request a free estimate and learn more at GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. And if you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. All right, Tier 2, Jeff. Where are you going to go with Tier 2?
Tier 2, these are guys who have either won a Super Bowl who I think can win a Super Bowl. And so that's my dividing line for this group. And I got Jim Harbaugh 8.
I was going to say your number 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Harbaugh is 8. Dan Campbell is 9. Mike Vrabel is 10. Your guy, Mike McCarthy, is 11. DeMeco Ryans is 12. And Matt LaFleur is 13. And McCarthy, like I said, was in my Tier 1 for a long time. But then I just felt like I would probably take
McCarthy's 11, you said?
He's 11, but I felt like I prefer Harbaugh, Campbell, or Mike Vrabel at this stage of their careers to Mike McCarthy. And Harbaugh's been to a Super Bowl. Campbell turned around one of the worst teams in the NFL, and Vrabel has been a winner at 2 different stops with teams that were losers before he showed up. And so I think DeMeco Ryans deserves more credit for doing what he's had to do with C.J. Stroud not playing at a high level. He's been a phenomenal defensive mind, and that team was a train wreck when he showed up. And LaFleur, I think, probably doesn't get as much credit for Green Bay as what he's accomplished there because of all the Aaron Rodgers stuff.
And so LaFleur was what number?
13.
13. And so you had a total of 6 in this, or 6 in this one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any real faults with that. None of them in there do I really mind a whole lot. I'm not quite as high on Dan Campbell, and never have been. I've come around to a degree, but this recession that he had this past year dinged him on my list. Right? It looked like it was all rolling and nothing was going to stop him. Then he's back out of the playoffs, and I know it's going to be. Well, he had a lot of injuries. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what. Everyone gets romantic about how physical his practices are, and then every year we're talking about all the injuries they have at the end of the year. So maybe you should change how you practice.
And it's a super tough division. Only division in football that had 4 teams with winning records.
Yeah, absolutely. No argument there.
Because of that, I'm a little surprised that Campbell's ranked ahead of somebody else in that division. A couple other guys in that division.
Yeah, well, He's been doing it longer and had more issues to fix. Detroit was a disaster when he showed up. All
right, Sam, what are you cooking here?
I only have 4 in my Tier 2 as well. So I just have 5 through 8. It was just Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, and Nick Sirianni.
Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh over John?
Yep. In this year, I'd rather have Jim. You said it. It's not a career achievement award. I mean, when I looked at, because I did at least look at last year's list, he was the guy I thought, why did I have him as low as I did? And I think I had him like at 9th or 10th, because in 6 years, he's won 11 games or more in 5 of them. He has a 680 win percentage. And he hasn't won a playoff game in LA. That's why he's not a tier 1 guy for any of us. I'm also going to give him credit for making the playoffs twice and still determining that he needed to make a change at offensive coordinator. Because I think what we see from successful teams is they try and keep the band together for too long, and it's the easiest thing to do. And he decided that getting to the playoffs was not good enough for him and made a pretty significant change at offensive coordinator, and also brought in a personality that I think a lot of people would have said, how's this going to work out? And he just decided, I want to make my football team better, and that ruled the day.
Yeah, and I would also argue in his defense, because he's had success wherever he's gone. But again, you look at that roster and it's filled with a number of guys who are not high picks, who are playing at a high level, and guys who he'll move a fullback to or a defensive lineman to fullback. He'll take 4th and 5th round picks and start them over 1st and 2nd round guys in the secondary. Quentin Johnston was going nowhere before he showed up, and now he's a guy who has a more promising future. Lad McConkey. It's just Justin Herbert. You can go up and down the line with him and find a number of players that he's coached up, and so he's an easy one for me.
That's a good point. The one thing that made me uncomfortable ranking him 6th is he's super conservative on 4th downs, which it's going to seem a bit hypocritical because I have some other guys ranked a little bit higher because of the way that I do think they are aggressive. I just think he's a good enough coach, from Monday through Saturday that it still is the more important part of the job, even though I'm not discounting that.
And using Soren's logic, he's a ticking time bomb. He doesn't play nights in the sandbox either. But I guarantee he's probably ranked higher on Soren's list than Nick Sirianni is.
Well, do you want to hear my tier 2?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my tier 2. Number 6, Jim Harbaugh. Number 7, Kyle Shanahan. Number 8, Nick Sirianni. Number 9, Mike Vrabel. Number 10, Matt LaFleur. And number 11, DeMeco Ryans. Fire away. Take your shots.
You guys have DeMeco much, much higher than I do. I don't think he's a bad coach by any means, but Soren, for someone who's constantly saying you'd hire the offensive guy, that's pretty high for a defensive guy.
I agree, but when I look at it, you can't deny all the guy does is go to the playoffs. He got even better, and C.J. Stroud is not that great. So they're doing it with his defense. I mean, listen, he needs to at some point push further into the postseason, but I think they need to figure out the quarterback. But that guy's rock solid. I mean, that team's ready to play. And, it was when I was looking at it, I was originally doing my rankings, and I got down and I hadn't put DeMeco Ryans in there. And I'm like, let me look at this. And I'm like, no way. This guy, he won 12 games last year. And he had injuries along the way. Dan Campbell's injuries. He's out now. He's got easier division. And that would be the knock on him, is that division
100%,
sucks.
yes.
That would be it. But when you do it year after year after year, you're doing something right. I mean, but I listen, he's 11. He's the bottom guy in this one for me. So I'm not beating on a table if somebody has him in tier 3, but I think he's been really impressive.
And that was one of the worst jobs in football, maybe the worst job when he showed up. I think the previous 3 coaches had won 11 games between them and lasted 1 year each. And so that was not an organization that had any kind of stability. And so what he came in and did within 1 year, and it's extended to 3 years now, is pretty impressive. But, I was going to ask, so Sam, what's your criteria for how you put guys in the team? What is there?
It really is if I had a job opening tomorrow.
Okay.
Which guys would I want to hire in what order?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like surrender.
That's not all that I have, but it's a part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it. Yeah. And I think it should be a big part of it, to be honest with you. All right. Tier 3, Jeff, where do we start in tier 3?
Tier 3, I labeled this. There's 7 in tier 3 for me. And these are the guys who I think are good, but not great. And Kevin O'Connell is somebody who fell from tier 2 for me last year, who I like a lot, but I just feel like the guys above him are just way more legitimate right now. And I think this year will sell a lot with what happens with the quarterback situation with Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. Ben Johnson, I was very tempted to put him in tier 2 because of what he did with Chicago, but I also feel like it's 1 year, and so I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon just yet. So that's 14 and 15. 16 is Liam Cohen for the same reason as Ben Johnson. Great turnaround in Jacksonville. You got to do it again. It's easy to do it 1 year, but when you can do it 2-3 years like DeMeco Ryans has done, then you get more credit for that. I got Todd Bowles at 17. He's won that division, I think, 4 of 5 years. Dan Quinn, who's got a championship. Excuse me, not a championship. He's got an NFC championship. with the Falcons, and he had a pretty great run.
How symbolic was that? Exactly. How symbolic was that? He's got a championship. No, he doesn't have the 28-3 blow.
That's right, exactly. I forgot he lost that game. But I think he's taken a team to a Super Bowl, and he took the Commanders to within one game of being in the Super Bowl when Jane Daniels was healthy. Zach Taylor, also a Super Bowl appearance, and then Kevin Stefanski, 2 Coach of the Years. So that's 14 through 20.
Stefanski, huh?
You got 2 Coach of the Years, man.
Every other
quarterbacks.
Every other year he was setting himself. Well, Deshaun Watson wasn't terrible until Stefanski got a hold of him, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I think he wasn't there when he won Quarterback of the Year, won Coach of the Year. Yeah, he was managed the team, get the team to the playoffs with the quarterback having all kinds of issues with injuries and inconsistency. But again, I go off what guys have done. I like results, not just.
I like results.
Yeah.
I like results.
Yeah.
I like guys who win games.
Yeah.
You're putting a lot on that Coach of the Year with Stefanski. I'll say that. I don't have him that much lower. Let me be clear. I have him 2 spots lower in the rankings.
You think he's not a good coach?
What number did you go through with your tier 3?
14 to 20.
14
he's 20th on my list. So he's not
20.
even like the top half of the stuff.
Yeah, no. And I think that's an important distinction. That's one of the things. That's why we added this last year. Is like we would be arguing about these tiers, and then you're like, well, wait a minute, you've only got 3, and I've got 6 and 6, and you go 3 and 4. We're actually only one number apart. We're not really that different in where it is. That's why I like it. We have 2 different rankings basically going on at once. We have the tiers and the 1 to 32.
Yeah, but I think he's a good coach. I'll listen to an argument that he's not a good coach, but if you win Coach of the Year twice, I think you're a good coach.
Can I actually point out the one I really don't like in your rankings?
Yes, please.
I don't understand Todd Bowles being that high at all. Like, what is it about Todd Bowles that you're saying?
Playoffs?
I said they had playoffs. But he's got 4 NFC South titles in 5 years, right? They had.
You said playoffs. He's been in the league for 9 years. He's won 1 playoff game ever.
But he's gotten to them.
Terrific.
But it's almost like dinging. Like the guy who's 1-0 in Super Bowls is better than the coach that's 3 and 5.
Yeah,
and that's crap. Well, he hadn't lost 5 Super Bowls. Yeah. I know he's been to 1.
That's not at all. I mean, I'm not telling you how many losses he had. By the way, he's made the playoffs 3 times in 9 years. 3 times in 9 years. In those 3 years, he went 8-9, 9-8, and 10-7. That's what we're giving him credit for.
I have Todd Bowles in.
He's never won more than 10 games.
But I guess what the argument is, like, I'm saying, you think he's not a good coach?
Yeah, no, I don't think he's a good coach.
So how would you, as a coach, what would you label him as? A mediocre coach? A below average coach?
I think below average.
Because to me, success means if you're making the playoffs, no matter how
below average,
I would say you're a good coach.
He's pretty low. He's pretty low on my list. Yes.
Wow, I got to hear this list, then.
I mean, he's never won more than 10 games. He's won 1 playoff game in 9 years. He's made the playoffs 3 times in 9 years.
Are we really going to lump his years with the Jets?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, then let's just. I mean, he's a defensive coach, right? I mean, let's look at the yards allowed defensively at Tampa: 19th, 18th, 23rd. Those are the last 3 years he's had in Tampa.
We're measuring him as a head coach, and listen, to Jeff's point, he's 20th on his list. What do you got him? 31?
I have him 27th on my list.
27.
Wow.
I would have fired Todd Bowles and hired several of the new guys who got hired, and I would have hired a couple of the new guys who didn't get jobs last year.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. See, I don't give credit if you haven't done it. I can't knock a guy.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody who's never done it you think could be better.
Yeah,
this guy could be a lot worse.
That logic just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. That means you would never fire anybody then, because if you'd never hire a first-year coach.
That logic, that's not true. You're making a gross leap. If he's got to Jeff's point, it's not 4 out of 5. It's 3 out of the last 4. And last year he was in the fight all the way to the end. Granted, not in the toughest division in football, which is all the reasons why he's 20th and not 10th. But I see both sides of the argument.
And
if Jeff had him 12,
by the way, didn't he a ton of injuries? He's had major receivers go down. He's had running backs go down. He's playing with Baker Mayfield. He's lost a coordinator 3 years in a row.
It showed.
Well, I mean, okay. I listen. Let's see what he does this year. It was a big year for him. There's no doubt. He's on the hot seat. I think we can all agree.
Do you think Todd Bowles survives the year? You think he's the head coach of the Bucs next year? Because if he's top half of the league, he certainly shouldn't get fired.
I think there's a good chance he wins the division. I think he's going to be in the fight for the division. And so I see your point, though. It's almost like the point is he's winning the division by default, is what Sam would say. But I think the other side is, but he's still winning the division. And there are other divisions that are easy, and there are other, and maybe there's one tough team in there, and there are teams that consistently can't get into the playoffs. Like it does have to mean something getting to the playoffs.
It does, but then the playoffs prove that they're not a good team. I mean, every year he's won one play. I keep coming back to it, but one playoff win in 9 years. I'm not even telling you, because I agree with your point, Soren, on the LeBron versus Jordan argument has constantly been how many times LeBron's lost in the finals. It's like just give him credit for getting to the finals 9 times. So I'll give him credit for getting to the playoffs 3 times. Like, I'm not counting his losses. I'm not telling you. I'm saying that he's 1-3. Or 1-2 it's 1-3 in the playoffs. I'm saying he's got one win. Yeah. That's the equivalent of only getting to the finals one time in that argument.
That's also one more than Joe Brady or Jesse Minter or
I'd see, without a doubt, if I'm the Bucs, if Jesse Minter is available and wanted to come to Tampa, I make room for him and I fired Todd Bowles to go hire Jesse Minter. And that's how I looked at my list.
Yeah, I think it was probably close to that happening. Yeah, I think it was probably close. So what is your tier 3, Sam?
Tier 3, I've got 9 through 15 on this. So I have Mike Vrabel, Kevin O'Connell. I'm a little surprised that Kevin O'Connell went down on your list, Jeff, just because, I mean, I don't think people realize the Vikings went 9-8 last year.
Well, he didn't go to the playoffs, and he sure as hell didn't win the playoff game.
Look at their personnel. He would have with Baker Mayfield because he turned Sam Darnold into almost the number 1 seed.
And I believe he has he won any playoff games? I don't think he's won any playoff games.
He's 43-25 in 4 years. Like,
but he hasn't won a playoff game, has he?
Has 15 games under 500 in 9 years?
This is a valid point. I think he does have. Does he have one playoff win?
I don't think he does.
I'm looking here real quick.
He didn't win the one when Daniel Jones beat him in the first one.
I mean, this is like,
and then Darnold lost.
He is 0-2. Yes.
This is like picking apart the one piece of like hanging Chad that you can find here. When I listed like 10 things I don't like about Todd Bowles being my head coach.
I like O'Connell. He fell on my list. I think to start saying you can win a championship, I think the playoff record and the way things went last year for him, and there's some talk about what happened with him and the GM and some power seizing going on there. But ultimately, I just think you have to cut someplace. And do I think he's done a better job than Matt LaFleur or DeMeco Ryans? No, I don't. And do I think he's got the accomplishments of a Mike McCarthy or a Vrabel or Dan Campbell, Jim Harbaugh? I don't. And so that's why I think he can be great, but I don't think he's great right now.
Yeah.
I don't
disagree. You have him in the same tier, Sam, as Jeff does.
I don't disagree with what Jeff just said. I just want to point that out. But, if I have a head coach opening, there's only 9 guys I'm hiring before Kevin O'Connell.
Okay.
Number 11 for me is Ben Johnson. 12 is Dan Campbell. 13 is, and I knew I'd be the high man on this, but I've got Liam Cohen, 13. I've got Matt LaFleur, 14, and I've got Ryans, 15. And so I know I'll be, and I mean, unless, Soren, you've got Ben Johnson higher than 11 or Cohen on 13, I feel like I'll be the high man on those. Go ahead, Jeff.
You have Cohen higher than DeMeco Ryans and who was the other one? LaFleur?
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew I'd be I think Liam Cohen is great. I don't think it's actually going to show in the results this year because their GM had such an awful off season, which we talked about on a previous show last month.
Agreed.
So
but I will say this. I will say part of coaching is being able to being able to convince people this is what we need to do and getting them to follow your lead. I get it if you have a structure that the GM's over the coach, that's difficult, but that is part of his job is to impose upon them, this is the talent I want. You don't get to just be like, well, I didn't have anything to do with it. But I think your point is valid. I definitely think he's hurt by the general manager.
He's the first guy that's made Trevor Lawrence look like the hype that followed him into the draft. And part of that is because he completely changed their offense. Like
Doug Peterson had some moments with him.
Rather than making Trevor Lawrence like this dink and dunk quarterback, he said, we're throwing downfield more frequently than any team in the league. And that's what they did. And look, ETN was not a bad player, but I think his offense got ETN paid in the offseason. Like I said, this is a big year for Liam Cohen, but I just thought he was terrific this last year.
I actually disagree with it being a big year. I think he had such a good year that they're probably going to fall flat. I think they're going to have the regression year. If he has a big year, then he's a rock star. I will agree with you because they had a piss poor offseason. Usually everybody's good that first year with the coach, and then there's a regression. We even saw it with Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. They fell back to 9-7 and didn't make the playoffs in the second year. It's kind of a natural occurrence. So if he goes 12-5 this year, he's a rock star.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell fit that progression too, where he went 13-4, then 7-10, and then he was back up to 14-3. I don't know that Liam Cohen is going to have a great record in Jacksonville because I don't like that the organizational philosophy right now. And Soren, you make a good point. Like he's part of that as well. I think as a coach, he had a terrific year, and I think there's a reason for it as well. With Johnson, I think I just want to because I think I'll probably be the high man on him as well. Mm-hmm. The Bears had the 9th highest run rate in the league. And I think all this talk about Ben Johnson was about having Caleb Williams. And he came in there and said, but our best success is running the ball. And when you dig into Caleb Williams, like the sack rate ratio was, I haven't seen that kind of drop that considerably anyway. I think he got sacked in his pressure to sack was like 26% and it dropped to like 12%. Like that is really remarkable. This stat really stuck out to me though when I looked at Caleb Williams. He had the lowest completion percentage in the NFL when throwing to open receivers last year. That's Ben Johnson doing his job. The guy's open. That offense could have been a lot better last year if they had a quarterback who was hitting open. It almost felt like Ben Johnson would have been more successful in the first 3 quarters until Caleb Williams turned it on with some miraculous plays with like a Kirk Cousins type for like 3 quarters and just be on schedule, or say a Jared Goff type. Yeah. And even though those guys are considerably less talented than Caleb Williams is.
My tier 3, 12, Dan Campbell, 13, Kevin O'Connell, 14, Ben Johnson, 15, Mike McCarthy, 16, Dan Quinn, and 17, Zach Taylor. No Liam Cohen yet, but he's coming up soon.
Is that the 1 year?
It's the 1 year thing. It's like I said, you get a kiss that first year. Let me see what you do the next year. It gets easier to measure it. I do like what I've seen from him. But mine is a little more like, okay, let me see you do it again. Then I really know what you are. Sam, I appreciate Sam is much more bold and like, I'm going to invest. Like if we were buying stocks, you and I are the 2 old farts, Jeff, we're the 2 old farts here that are, trying to make our way through things and going with everything safe. And then Sam's the guy. It's like this thing right here is a rocket ship and I'm on it and I'm going to get on it right now. I'm going to buy heavy. That
is true. And I mean, look, it just like that analogy, sometimes you hit one and sometimes you don't.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll take a quick break and get back. We've got tiers 4, 5, 6, and 7. They get a little bit quicker as we get lower because there ends up being less and less guys in there. So we'll do that after you hear from our friends at Italian Delight. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. If you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. Your parking lot says a lot about your business. Cracks, potholes, faded striping, and damaged concrete can create safety concerns and leave the wrong impression with customers. Gann Asphalt and Concrete helps Kansas City businesses protect their properties with asphalt paving, seal coating, crack filling, parking lot striping, concrete work, and repairs. Their experienced crews deliver quality workmanship and dependable service on every project. Whether you need routine maintenance or a complete parking lot overhaul, Gann is ready to help you. Get started today with a free estimate at GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lots. All right, let's talk a little bit about tier number 4, Jeff. Where do you want to go with your tier number 4? We're starting at 21 here for you. Who's up in tier 4?
I've got 5 in this tier, and these are the coaches I describe as they tease you, but they haven't done a whole lot to deserve the hype. 21 is Robert Saleh. 22 is Dave Canales. 23 is Shane Steichen. 24 is Brian Schottenheimer. And 25 is Kellen Moore. And the through line for all 5 of these guys is I think that they have promise and potential, and they've had a lot of buzz around them at different points for being geniuses or doing amazing things. But then you look at the actual records and you're like, oh, this is not really matching up with all this pomp and circumstance around them. So
21 Solid, 22 Canales. Who was 23?
Steichen.
Okay. And 24
Schottenheimer.
Okay.
And 25 Kellen Moore.
Okay. I see the similarities amongst the guys. Sam, who do you want to freak out about?
Well, I'll give you my.
Well, Sam's got Sam gotten the 15 yet?
I've got 8, 9, and 10 here.
Yeah, let's talk about dinking and dunking.
I'm through. I start with 16, and it's the guy who I just think is perhaps the most underrated guy in the league. Shane Steichen is 16 for me. I mean, his quarterbacks his first year were Gardner Minshew and Anthony Richardson. His quarterbacks his second year were Joe Flacco and Anthony Richardson. His quarterbacks his third year were Daniel Jones and Phillip Rivers. And the guy's been a 500 coach somehow with like that group. He's aggressive. He's so in tune with the end game stuff too.
Jeff, can you help me out? How many playoff games?
I was going to say, he's got a nitpick lead for one playoff win for Todd Bowles, and Shane Steichen had to snip the playoffs yet, and he's talking about him like
he's sniffs them every year with this group. If Shane Steichen had Baker Mayfield, you'd probably have him in your tier 1 group because he might have made a Super Bowl with that guy.
Shane Steichen sitting there thinking, I wish I could have Todd Bowles' career right now. It'd be nice to play a game in January.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I
don't think anyone's wanting Todd Bowles' 60 and 75 record. They'd love to get you the paycheck for 9 years of mediocrity. Mm-hmm. I've got Mike McCarthy 17. I've got my favorite new hire 18, which is Jesse Minter. Former Michigan guy, Jeff. I'm kind of disappointed that you don't have him ranked higher than any of us. He's been a DC for 2 years. His points allowed were 1st and 9th. I actually think he's a real loss for the Chargers too. 19th, I have Zach Taylor. This is where it really fell off for me, by the way, was that 18 range. And 19 was Zach Taylor. 20 is Dan Quinn. And 21 is Joe Brady.
Okay. I see where you're going. Dan Quinn's got the career numbers, but last
year worried me.
He really slumped in year 2. It looked a lot like it was like
the worst. But that's actually not worried. He had the worst defense in the league.
Oh, yeah. He had a bad defense the year before too.
Yeah,
he did. He had. I think he was like 18th, 19th the year before, but like literally the worst defense in the league last year. That concerned me about Dan. I was higher on Dan Quinn a year ago than I was this year.
Okay. My tier 4, Liam Cohen at 18. And he almost made tier 3. Todd Bowles at 19. Shane Steichen at 20. Dave Canales at 21. Kevin Stefanski at 22. Kellen Moore at 23, because I think he actually showed some promise with a quarterback that was a later round pick. And then Brian Schottenheimer at 24. And I could have put I had Brian Schottenheimer down in tier 5, but you'll notice I haven't said one of the new hires other than Mike McCarthy that is a first-time coach or even a new coach. I don't have I could have had Robert Saleh up there as well. He's been a coach before. But I saw this. I'm like, Brian Schottenheimer's in with these guys. Like, I'm just going to bump Schottenheimer up. He's been there. They did circle the wagons a little bit in Dallas. I think he's been an underrated, not great, but an underrated offensive coordinator. So I'll put him in there at 24. But I almost wish there was like a 4.5, and I'd put Schottenheimer by himself at 4.5.
So you guys are telling me you didn't like any of the new hires then? Because all of them are bottom third.
It's not really the way we did it.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I would say. Like, Raheem Morris is a really good defensive coordinator. Robert Saleh is a really good defensive coordinator. I'm not going to give Jesse Minter a whole bunch of love because he's a really good defensive. I've seen really good offensive and defensive coordinators flop as head coaches, and so I just think it's not a great.
One of them, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's why he's But I'm saying, like,
is Robert Saleh a really good defensive coordinator?
Yeah, but the Niners, twice. You see what he had last. He didn't have Nick Bosa and Fred Warner last year, and that defense was playing pretty well. And they lost their number 1 pick. Edge rusher Michael Williams went down with an ACL.
I don't think they had a good defense last year. I think it's a fine defense.
They lost all those guys. That's what I'm saying.
I know, but like, I'm not. But it showed. Like, they weren't a great defense last year.
Well, when he left the Niners the first time, I think they were the number 1 defense in football when he left there to go to the Jets, wasn't he?
They were up there. They were up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I
they
don't.
Were 27th in DVOA defensively last year.
I don't have Saleh yet. I've got him in the next one, but I have my reservations. I think Jeff makes a really good point when he's like, guys that have been really good as coordinators, they get that shot. I mean, the guy who was the Chargers head coach, I can't even remember his name.
Brandon Staley. There's no doubt that he's right about that. I mean, there is no doubt that he's right. Like, I am not at all arguing that.
Brian Daboll. I mean, they're all some kind of hero as a coordinator. That's why they get the job.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I mean, none of these guys, although the guy who's 32nd on all of our list was never a good coordinator either, but most of these guys are all good coordinators.
Yeah, I will say this to the point you made earlier, Sam, about like, so you wouldn't hire anything, you'd never fire a coach. I think the way I would describe the way Jeff would do it is no, he'd hire a coach with experience.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. And I would not. Like, I would hire a coach with experience, but that would not be my overwhelming priority when I hired a coach, is to say, how many games have you coached in the past?
I'm glad you amended it because I was getting ready to go. So you wouldn't have hired Belichick in New England?
Yeah,
you wouldn't hire Andy Reid in Kansas City. You're always going to go for the new guy. But you amended it and said you would hire a coach.
Yeah. But I wouldn't look at Todd Bowles winning 1 playoff game in 9 years and say, wow, that guy's coached 9 years. Give him to me. I'd rather have a new guy.
You got to get past Todd Bowles.
I know. He's like all over Todd Bowles here. What's Todd Bowles' winning percentage? Is it 500? I'm pretty sure he's over 500.
It's not.
Did Todd Bowles steal your lunch in school? Right. What the hell?
He's stealing lunch every day he eats at the Bucs facility.
All right, Jeff, tier 5. What do you got?
This is my hot seat coaches, and Aaron Glenn is the only one in that tier 5 for me. He's
the only one?
Hot seat? Yeah. That's my criteria. It's the hot seat.
He's the only guy on the hot seat.
Yeah. I'm on 26. Coach. Everybody else has just got hired.
Zach Taylor's not on the hot seat this year.
No. In Cincinnati, you see how long they've kept coaches around Cincinnati?
Yes, him.
I bet you Zach Taylor coaches like 2-3 more years.
He's got a losing record with Joe Burrow.
Oh, God. Go back and check how long they kept Dick LeBeau around as head coach in Cincinnati. And who was the other guy who was there forever back in the early 2000s?
Marvin Lewis.
Not Marvin Lewis. Before Marvin Lewis.
Well, Marvin Lewis is your best example, though, isn't he?
But Marvin Lewis went to a lot of playoffs.
Yeah, but they had, like, I think just between Dick LeBeau, there was somebody else. I can't remember his name now, but they had like 7 or 8 years with guys who had losing records. They just kept them around because they didn't want to. Once you're in good graces over there, they're not getting rid of you. If Joe Burrow wants Zach Taylor to be the head coach, Zach Taylor will be there. He's not on any hot seat over there.
I'm going to just take the over on the one coach getting fired though this off season, right?
So
I'm not saying that.
Zach Taylor replaced Lewis. LeBeau. Yeah. Here are the coaches. Who are you thinking of, Jeff?
Because before LeBeau then?
Taylor before Lewis. LeBeau was there, took over 1 year, and then had 2 more. Coslett.
Yeah, it was Coslett.
That's who you're thinking of? Okay.
Yeah, Coslett. And Coslett, I don't think ever won anything there, and he was there for like 5 years.
Yeah. They kept Shula. I don't even remember which one it was. It wasn't Mike. But they kept him for 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years. And they, by the way, they fired him. They fired him after he had his best year.
Yeah.
He won 5-5-3. Then he went 7-9. They're like, all right, that's it. Yeah. We've got standards. You've got to go.
Yeah. That's Zach Taylor's Super Bowl appearance, beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead will buy him like 10 years in that franchise.
Do we know that Zach, he doesn't have you said he doesn't have a winning record with Joe Burrow, but if you take the games Joe Burrow's out.
Oh yeah, Joe Burrow has a winning record. Yeah. I meant okay. He has Joe Burrow and still does not have an overall winning record in Cincinnati.
Yes. All right, Sam, do you have more than one in this tier?
Yeah, what are we on? Tier 5? I've got 22 through 26 and Tier 5, which is Stefanski, Canales. I actually ranked Canales lower than last year. I think people think it would be easier because they won the division. But they had the best offensive rookie in football last year and actually scored fewer points than they did the year before. 24 was Kellen Moore, 25 was Robert Saleh, and 26 is Clint Kubiak. You know what, when you look into Clint Kubiak, this is just beside the point because I know you guys haven't ranked him yet. I'll tell you what stands out about him. 6 organizations in 6 seasons. Nobody has seemed to be like dying to hold on to Clint Kubiak. And I'm just surprised that didn't come up when his name was such a hot name throughout this cycle. The fact that, man, he's been with a lot of teams.
Well, how do you differentiate between Mentor, Brady, and Kubiak then? Like what?
So I'll tell you on Mentor, I think he's had success everywhere, like every job he's had. I mean, he was lights out when Harbaugh hired him at Michigan, people said this guy's too young, he's too inexperienced, wins a national championship there. When he gets to the Chargers, same sort of thing about when they pulled him there. His defenses take 1st and 9th in the league, and I did not think the Chargers had immense talent defensively. With Joe Brady, I have more questions about him. It's why he's 3 or 4 spots lower on my list. I thought it took real guts for Joe Brady last year to have Josh Allen and decide their best path to moving the football was to run the ball, because it's what we haven't seen Andy Reid do. And we're all still questioning whether or not Andy Reid will do that, even with Kenneth Walker, which is, their version of Cook, and they've got Mahomes, and whether or not Andy Reid has the guts to run the ball more frequently than they pass it on 1st down. And Joe Brady did that. I thought he just played to his strengths. I don't think the Bills had a lot of weapons. I know that was a discussion we had on a previous podcast. I mean, now we'll see what kind of decision maker he is. I mean, his offenses have ranked 5th, 2nd, and 4th the 3 years he's been there. The Chiefs, again, the last 3 years have proven it's not easy to be top 5 year after year after year, and they have been in the 3 years he's been there.
Well, my Tier 5 is all the guys that were hired this year, minus Mike McCarthy, who I have up at a higher spot, obviously because of his track record and his winning. Robert Saleh, I mentioned already, could have been higher. I go Jesse Minter, 25, Jeff Hafley, 26, Joe Brady, 27, Clint Kubiak, 28, Robert Saleh, 29, Mike LaFleur, 30, and Todd Monken, 31. Just there it is.
LaFleur ahead of Monken, huh?
I mean, what really? That's where you want to split hairs?
I'm just curious. I mean, I think he was the least likeliest guy to get hired in the whole cycle.
Don't fight for Todd Monken here.
Yeah.
Nobody else was fighting for Todd Monken this offseason.
I'm just saying, Mike LaFleur was like, okay, we got to find somebody to take this job in Arizona. He was the last guy hired.
Dude, no, you think Cleveland was destination 1A for people?
Well, I'm just saying nobody was talking about Mike LaFleur. Monken had a lot more buzz around him as a head coaching candidate.
I think Todd Monken. Sorry, Sam. I think Todd Monken has more mediocrity on his resume than people realize.
Even Mike LaFleur would have turned down that Cleveland
What's
job.
the mediocrity?
I think he's just one of those guys that bounces around, and he locked in and got with Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. That's a pretty good spot. That's what got him this job. He didn't even have any business being the Raven. He went from Georgia to the Ravens.
You see the job Mike LaFleur did as the Jets offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do, and it was nothing to write home about.
It was 28th and 29th in points.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I think they're both.
I mean, I want to be clear. You're bitching that I have 30 at 30 and not 31.
I'm not bitching. I'm just saying I'm curious how you made. Just as I asked Sam, like, how do you differentiate between Minter, Brady, and Kubiak? Like,
you want to know honestly how I did?
Who's
Cleveland.
you going to hire?
They're too terrible. The two of them went at the bottom of this list because they're the two worst organizations, and I think Cleveland's the worst organization. So I assume they made the worst hire.
I think the Arizona Cardinals are worse.
Really? Okay.
I think Andrew Berry's a pretty good general manager.
Well, we should wager thousands of dollars on this.
Yeah.
Who will be better?
Yeah. I could almost bet you. I would almost bet you LaFleur would be gone before Munkin is, but yeah.
To be clear, Soren, you had him ranked 30th and 31st.
Mm-hmm. I told you there's only one guy in my tier 6.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that was the discussion was over 30. And
I have Munkin ahead of LaFleur. They're 31 and 32 on my list.
This is
I'm not arguing like one's better than the other. I'm just saying, like, when Mike LaFleur got that job, it was like, wow, they just found a guy.
In some ways, I feel like I did a really good job because it's like you almost had to find something to bitch at me for.
Yeah. Like I said, I dump all the unproven guys into one category in tier 6, so that's why.
Okay, so what do you got?
Kubiak at 27 because he won a championship. Brady at 28 because the reasons Sam mentioned. Minter at 29, and then Halfley, Munkin, and LaFleur rounded out.
Minter at 29, and then what was it?
Jeff Halfley, Todd Munkin, and Mike LaFleur. And I just based it off how impressed I was with the jobs they did last year and the roles they were in. Like, I don't know if any of these guys are going to be great head coaches or even good head coaches. So,
okay,
I don't bet on potential.
Tier 6 for you, Sam, 27 to 32 as well, right?
Yep. I've got your guy's star, Todd Bowles, at 27. I've got
that's right. The third time we talked about this. Yeah.
Well, I had to. I mean, at some point, he's got to appear on my list. I've got Schottenheimer at 28. I've got Jeff Halfley at 29, a job that has no – I don't disagree with you guys in the organization. I will say the Dolphins seem to be the least positioned for success, though. And, I don't know who could come in and do a good job there. I've got Munkin, and in order Jeff will appreciate, I've got Munkin 30th and LaFleur 31st. And – we've all got the same guy last. I've got Aaron Glenn 32nd.
No, we don't all have the same.
I have Aaron Glenn at 20.
I mean, Jeff's last of the experienced guys. It's the annual cop out from the guy who pulls no punches. He takes the annual cop out on the head coaching rankings.
I will know Todd Bowles at 27 has one more playoff win than about 10 other guys Sam mentioned.
He does, but these guys haven't had 9 years. 9 years. How are you forgetting the 9 years? He didn't do it in one year.
You're gonna fight Jeff in the parking lot, and it's gonna be over Todd Bowles, and then I'm gonna fight Jeff in the parking lot, and it's gonna be over
Matt LaFleur.
Mike LaFleur and Todd Munkin.
30th and 31st.
That's where we drop our flags right here. Huh?
Yeah, that's priceless. That's priceless. All right, there it is. We got 6 tiers. We ranked them 1 to 32.
We don't have your tier 6 yet.
Aaron know what it is. Yeah.
Aaron Glenn. I mean, that's it. Aaron Glenn. I mean,
I
don't even know. I don't know how he got the job. I don't even know why he took the job. If he was smart, he'd stayed. He took the job because I think he felt like he was never going to get another shot.
Well, there's familiarity there, right?
That's your one hot seat. You have somebody else on the hot seat. I actually gave a little more.
No, that's my worst
context to what I'm
coach.
thinking.
That's my 32nd
Okay.
coach.
But
Is he on the hot seat? I mean, he should be, just because I don't think he's qualified. But no, I think Brian Schottenheimer's on the hot seat.
Schottenheimer's on the hot seat. Todd Bowles is on the hot seat. I'm not just bringing him up again. Like, he is on the hot seat.
Yeah,
I think Zach Taylor's on the hot seat.
I think Dan Quinn could get on it.
Dan Quinn could be.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen, I think, is on the hot seat because Chris Ballard might also be on the hot seat.
The genius in Indianapolis is on the hot seat.
Doesn't mean
Yeah,
that
he's on the hot seat.
doesn't mean that the Colts agree with Sam's rankings.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely on the hot seat. I mean, because the GM who hired you is clearly on. I think we're all surprised Chris Ballard got it this year.
Yes, I am.
Soren's got his 8th coach on the hot seat.
Sirianni, yeah.
I do think he could be on the hot seat. Yes, the Eagles have fired people.
I don't think he is.
If he went 5-12, do you think that's okay?
Yeah, the problem is he's never done that.
I know, but
that's the whole point.
I think it's we'll see. We'll find out. That's why we do this.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's also the reason we do this is you see why teams hire different guys.
Yeah, I mean, being on the hot seat is not an indication that you're not one of the best 32 names on the list. I mean, you guys just put Mike McCarthy, top half of the league. He got fired 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. Wow. It's a good point. Listen, if you want a great job done when it comes to your parking lot, Gann Asphalt and Concrete can help you out for parking lot repairs, resurfacing, seal coating, striping, concrete work. They handle it all. GannAsphalt.com. Or remember, one contractor, all things parking lot. It's Gann Asphalt and Concrete. And our friends at Italian Delight, first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. Strombolis, calzones, sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, you're going to love the hot and cold subs. Check out their meatball sub. It is absolutely delightful. Lasagna, and they've even got daily lunch specials at under $10, just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave. Order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. For Jeff Chadiha, for Sam McDowell, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here